Órale, Cholo Trucker Más Movies and Shows, and here we got episode one of volume five of Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix. This one is titled Park Bench Murders. So basically, you have a male and a female that met up at a park right outside of Cleveland, sat on a park bench, and were both shot and killed. Okay, so it is Carnell and Kate who were murdered, and I believe this was in 2019 that this happened. So it's been quite a few years. Um, Cornell was a black man, Kate was a white girl, and to the best that I was watching the episode, it never said that they were a couple or anything of that sort. Now, it did mention that Cornell had uh that he had said to her that, hey, one day we're going to end up together. Now, Cornell was shot twice in the back of the head, and then when he was on the ground, Kate was shot once in the back of the head. So it led authorities to believe that the person walked up behind them because they were sitting on a park bench looking at a creek, little river, whatever it may be, and somebody came behind them and just, shot them, man. And she was actually a little bit more down towards the creek a little bit. Now it's not many feet, right? So they're thinking that he was shot first. She gets up, she runs, probably gets about 3 steps in or so, and then she's blasted in the back of the head. They went through so much to try to see what happened, right? Pretty much got the time frame down. This had to have happened somewhere within like 20 minutes or so, simply with the phone calls that were made. She was leaving the gym, he was leaving the gym, separate gyms. He was going down to his grandma's for dinner, which was out of the way from the gym that he was at. So it's like you're backtracking and then you're supposed to go to your grandma's. Nobody knew why they were meeting. Um, they knew each other, but nobody knew why they were meeting in person. Why couldn't they just, whatever they had to say to each other, why couldn't they just talk on the phone? Why did they have to meet in person at that time, especially when Carnell had dinner plans at his grandma's right around that time as well? So it's like, hey, we're gonna meet. We're just gonna say a few words to each other, and then boom, I'm gonna hightail it out of here all the way across town to my grandma's for dinner. It's That was a little bit strange, and nobody knows. They checked their phone records on, their them texting back and forth. Nothing really seemed to indicate why they were meeting, so they were thinking maybe it was more in conversation. Now they went through a couple of suspects, right? One of them is Carnell's ex-chick, his ex-girlfriend. Um, I don't know if Carnell's a black dude. I don't know if he's into the white girls because she was a white girl, or at least looked like a white girl. Kate is a white girl, which again, to the best of everybody's knowledge, there was no relationship between them, but he had said, hey, we're gonna end up together. And she was registered to carry a firearm, and she actually did come on the show Unsolved Mysteries to speak her piece. And she did, officers kind of ruled her out because there was nothing with her firearm and she had an alibi. And there was quite a few other suspects, a guy that she was dating beforehand, like two dudes that she was dating beforehand, one guy who ended up being an actual killer, but they all had alibis, man. And when law enforcement looked into it, it's like, yeah, no, man, these guys all check out. So it wasn't them. Yeah, these cases get a little bit frustrating. The ones who found them was another couple who had just shown up, see them laying on the ground, and they see a pickup truck, a guy in a pickup truck. So they interrogate that guy, question that guy. He happens to be a roofer who was just parked on the side of the road in his pickup truck, doing some paperwork for his job. Now, he said he didn't hear a gunshot. There was three gunshot wounds, right? Two on Carnell, one on Kate, and he said he didn't hear anything. He was there before the couple showed up. The couple that found them, he was already parked there. So some of the family members are saying, like, wait, that doesn't make sense. How can he not hear, you know, a gun being fired? How can he not hear that? Well, there's a couple of things here for me. I was kind of like, well, look, you are assuming that he was parked there when the shootings happened. He may had just pulled up right after the shooting. Right after the shooting, he may have just pulled up. And I've done what he's done. You just park on the side of the road and you do some paperwork. When I'm a trucker, so everything that is a little bit more electronic now. But when there was paperwork to be done, yeah, you just pull off to the side of the work, you do paperwork. And by the way, they did go onto his, I believe it was his iPad or whatever it may be for business, and it checked out that he was actually doing some digital work for his job. They're parked on the side of the road, but he said he did not hear any gunshots or anything. And some of the family members are like, no, he had had to heard something, right? Um, so they eliminate that. So going through everything, I'm like, man, it seems like they kind of missed a little bit of something. Like they never really said what the alibis were for some of these suspects. They just said, "Oh, they got an alibi." Well, I mean, what alibi? Do you have video footage? I mean, is it just a family member who can just lie for them and say, like, "Oh, yeah, they're down here with me"? They never really specifically said what the alibis were, right? So, um, they thought maybe it could have been a gang, maybe it could have been just some random hate crime. You see a black dude, I'm sorry, you see a black guy, you see a white chick. It's like, orale, dog, I'm not down with this. They get off and just go and blast them, for whatever reason. I I'm gonna say, look, I'm gonna say somebody knew them. Somebody knew them. Now, the timeline, they were able to see when she unlocked her phone, which was somewhere, and I might be off here a little bit, but somewhere around like 5:08 p.m. And when the couple showed up and found them and made the 911 call, it was somewhere around 5:20. So that is not a long time that they were laying there. And this was in daylight. Yes, it's past 5 o'clock, but the sun is still up. So it was in daylight. So it wasn't a long time, man, that they were there laying, helplessly dead uh, when they were discovered. Now, could it have been some sort of serial killers or some sort of, wacko who is just laying in wait and saying, like, you know what? The next person that comes down by the water here, I'm just gonna, put holes in them. Yeah, man. I mean, all of it is possible, but that's basically where it left off. And where it stands at the end of the show, basically, is that the families are pretty frustrated with law enforcement. They raised $100,000. The families did $100,000 for for information on this case. Nobody, nothing, zero. Like, wow. And they put signs around that area in that park. They put signs um asking people, hey, were you here on this date? Do you have any clues, anything like that? And basically, the city came back and told them, hey, you got to take those signs down. That kind of frustrated the family because it's like, hey, come on, man, we're trying to get to the bottom of this. And like one of the family members had said, I think it was Kate's family member that said, I think they want those signs down because they want people to feel safe at this park, you know. So yeah, what a mystery, man. I still don't rule out from what this episode showed. I still don't necessarily rule out some of the suspects that they first had. They didn't get really into detail on the alibi, so I still don't rule them out. But look, it could definitely be just a random killing. You know, it could definitely be some guy or some girl or something that was parked there and just saw that couple just walk up and just sit down on the bench, and they just went up there and blasted them. It could be. It seems a little bit off. Seems a little bit more personal, but I mean, where it stands now, it's unfortunate, man. So yeah, well, you guys tell me what you guys think about episode 1 of volume 5 of Unsolved Mysteries, and hopefully for the families, they get this mystery solved, man. Cholo Trucker, Moss Movies and Shows. Catch you guys on next one.